Susie, you can't freaking have Boris! Stop talking about getting his insides. Don't make me get the axe on you. I'm sorry about that, Alice. Apparently Susie's still going through some tough times. That's alright, Snowwolf. Are we ready? Mm-hmm. Whenever you're ready, just sing all the way into the microphone. Way to go, Alice! Okay, Boris, is the music ready? Yup. It's right there on the radio, and the instruments will begin playing. Here we go! Perfect, Boris. Okay, now, Bendy, are you ready? Oh, dear. Bendy, are you alright? Yeah, buddy, you don't look too good. Bendy, did you eat before going to the studio today? You know how you get when you don't have your food. Bendy, it's important that you get your food. Here, lucky for you, I have some beacon soup. Just try some, and trust me, you'll feel much better afterwards. There you go, buddy. How do you feel? Wow, actually a lot better. Thank you. There you go. See, man? I told you I was right. Awesome. Now that everyone is okay, we can now begin on work in progress. Everyone get ready. 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Snowwolf, and welcome back to LEGO Arts. So, in the last episode, we did the 4th of July special, which showcased LEGO Avengers, which since then, I've made a couple of modifications to, like, a few minifigures. So, I might just do, like, a snapshot of them on, like, Twitter or something. But anyways, back to this. So, if you recall, either a month or a few weeks ago, I did a showcase of LEGO Bendy and the Ink Machine. And that has officially become, not just the most popular episode in LEGO Arts, but also the most popular video of my entire channel. It's now reached about, like, 3,300 views and counting. So afterwards, I decided, let's do another one. So we are back with Bendy and the Ink Machine Wave 2. So to start things off, we have Ink Bendy, Susie Angel. We're gonna be calling her Susie from now on, because we already have an Alice. That way we can, tell the difference between the two, aside from appearances. And I also threw in a couple of extra characters, Sammy Lawrence, the Projectionist, and Dead Boris, who is standing out in the background over there, and Brute Boris. Pretty much the first ever more customized Big Fig. Hulk kind of counts as one, but he was more of a repaint really. And in the background, we also have, the music department, which like the first one, I'll show it to you guys in a little bit. So, as you know, the process, we're going to be doing, we're going to take these minifigures one at a time, do a showcase on them, and then explain, some of the process of them, and then go from there. But actually, we're going to be adding in a special little deal. If I receive a comment that says hashtag LEGO Bendy, I will go back and start working on more Bendy and the Ink Machine characters. If you guys want to see me more, do that. But anyways, let's get started on these minifigures. So of course, to start this video off, we have Ink Bendy. This character, I actually got started around working on after I did the first Bendy and the She Wave, and I was almost tempted to put this one in, but I already had everything worked out of how to do that video, so I decided to wait on this one before and wait to do the other ones. And looking at this minifigure, I am really satisfied with this one. So looking at this minifigure, as you can see his body is a skeleton, which I really picked out. And I picked it out, purposely, like around the time they did the release trailer, the updates for Chapter 3, and I saw like some of the videos of Chapter 4. I noticed that his body was more skeletal. Like, you could see his spine, his rib cage. He was a lot skinnier. So I decided to go ahead with the skeleton body. And plus, as a bonus, it allowed me to modify the legs. And the legs. These were kind of interesting, so let's get him off his stand a little bit. I actually have to put him on the stand because of the legs, the way how they're modified. I cut off, like, the feet part, then putting molding clay as, like, supports, and then super glued back on the feet. I put the left foot that's up in front, and then the right foot, since Bendy is having kind of a limp, and I noticed that in the original designs, and his foot was turned, I decided to replicate that. The downside, though, is that, like, on this platform specifically, really with that background, he can't stand up too long, otherwise he'll fall over. Hence the platform. Hence the little display stand that I have to give him. But in a way, it kind of works. Because it kind of represents, like, his ink puddle that he rises up. And, of course, like, he has a bow tie that I glued on. And, of course, the giant hand. I definitely, like, this was my first route to go with. I definitely wanted the glove to stand out more. So I chose that. I could have, well, if I had, like, any gauntlets, similar to, like, what Hellboy has, as the Hellboy minifigure, I could have tried to put that glove on here, but the way how the hands are designed, I can't rotate them, so it would look weird if I put, like, a fist on one hand, and I couldn't even rotate it. Yeah. Plus, this way, it looks like a giant Lego hand. And the head as well, I tried to make it as, like, spread out and demonic as I possibly could, and results came out pretty well. And well, I'm really satisfied with this minifigure, and this has to be, like, one of the best minifigures I've ever made. Alright, so I'm really glad I got to do this one. So, let's move on to the next one. So this next one, I can't tell if she was supposed to be sent from above or pretty much crawled from below. But here we have Susie Angel, or Alice Angel. And this one is a little bit unique as well. Like, obviously the 3D elements and stuff. I tried to draw the dress bow tie thing, and I even, like, made one at the back. Okay, I hope it's as accurate as it was. I didn't really have a lot to go on, like, photo-wise, so I couldn't tell if it's fully accurate. I hope it is. But even if it's not, it still works out, because the head... Okay, let's get the hair... Okay, there we go. Because the hair piece, it just about fits of where the bow is, so that way it can easily come on and off. And the face itself, I'm not very good at faces, especially when trying to, like, do the mouth accurately, so it's not exactly like the creepy, deformed face, but I tried to get it, like, as close as I could. Of course, we have, like, a couple of the ink stenches here. The legs, she wears a skirt, but the way how it's designed, it's like designed, we can't really see it, so there wasn't much to do on that. And of course, I added in, like, hang on, can we refocus? Okay, here we go. And I also added in, like, a little clay on, like, the side of her face to represent sort of, like, the deformed arm side of things. And the hairpiece, like Alice Angel, I put on the horns and a halo, but unlike Alice Angel, I didn't have to position the halo, like, on the horns. It's the way how it was designed, how it's fused into her head. I made a halo, cut some pieces of it, but then super glued them together. And this was the result. This was a pretty interesting minifigure to make, and I'm glad I got done with this one. So let's now move on to the next one. Okay, next up with the villains is Sammy Lawrence. And this one was one of the more simpler ones to make, mainly because of like the new update with the outfit. With this outfit, there wasn't really too much to worry about. So like he's got his overalls. We'll see here. Also detailing on the back. Have a little detailing on like the side of his pant leg. I might have accidentally did a bad and put them on the side rather than the front. But the way how I looked at the photos, I honestly couldn't tell the difference. The main thing is, of course, like his mask. If I recall correctly, yes, I can move it. When making this mask, I like took a slab of molding clay, flattened it out as best as I could, and I even tried to cut out like where the mouth would be, on the face. I think it's roughly close to it. So it looks kind of weird when you look at it. And I tried to make the mask as like messed up as possible. I could have gone a path of like finding like a worn out Bendy mask, shrunk it down, and then made it out of cardboard. But that's not how I roll. I want to make it as like realistic, I guess, as I possibly could. And plus, I'd rather work with clay, that I can easily like bend folds than with cardboard, which sometimes can be a pain to cut out. And of course, like he has a strap behind, but in order to make sure that the mask would stay on, it's glued on. I cannot remove it, and even if I could, he wouldn't be Sammy without the mask. So in a way, this figure is complete, and it actually looks pretty cool. So let's move on to the more complicated minifigures. So next up is Norman Portman, I think is how, or Pullman, but pretty much the projectionist. And oh my god, this minifigure is pretty much one of the most complicated minifigures I've ever made. So like his feet, I decided to give it the tall effect. So like with Boris, I put on like some stud pieces at the bottom of his feet to elevate him. His right hand is normal, but his left hand, this is supposed to represent the real. It didn't fully come out right. Alright, and he's got like a speaker in the front. The head is completely made out of clay, except for this stud piece it's like a spare that I had in my drawer, and I took it out, glued it to the front to really get that projection kind of look. Then I took a Sharpie, did detailing on both sides of it, and like the area where the reels are supposed to be. The reason this minifigure was hard was because of the cables in his back, the cables in his feet, and in the back. He has a lot more, but just by doing the second cable, I was having a major pain trying to do all of this to make it for like I could move it, and I can just barely do it, mainly because of the paint. But in general, this was a major pain, and by the time I got in like a couple of cables in, I was just like, this is not gonna work well. I'm done. And I even almost decided like, let's just push this off because it was being so annoying of trying to put the cables in, and these were like, this is like a plastic kind of rope that I had in like my spare materials drawer. And when putting it in, and it's just like, oh, come on, stay. But in the end, I finally got it right, and this came out pretty good. But that was a whole different nightmare in its own special way. Alright then, now let's move on to technically the last minifigure before we go on to the background. So last up is the big guy, our no longer dear friend, Boris. And when making this big fig, it was its own little weird process. So I don't really have that very many big figs. Like, I have, like, dozens of minifigures, but I don't have many big figs. I pretty much have this one, Hulk, and Anti-Venom. And Anti-Venom was already perfect, so I didn't want to ruin him. And Hulk I was saving for Avengers. But the only other big figure I had was in my Lego Chima collection with Mungus. I don't know if any of you guys remember Mungus. He's a giant mammoth. But we had to make some sacrifices in order to do this one. But a difficult thing with it is that every big fig has its own special design. So in order to do this Boris, and to do Brute Boris, I had to take out some sandpaper that I didn't know I had at the time. Until like my sister and my mom told me that we have sandpaper. Then I sands the hell out of the back, a bit of the front, of like the shoulders and the front, and I just sand it as best as I possibly could, to where like it could somewhat be like even and be its own design. And then I had to put like pretty much the rest of my molding clay into this figure. So like I buffed out like the torso area. I then cut out a hole for where like the organs would be. I had a couple of spikes that I used an exo knife to cut. That's the rib cage, and then glue on. And I also had to make sure that this could be movable for like I could move the arm with ease. And the arms, this one wasn't as hard. All I really had to do was apply on like the bracelet onto him. The other one wasn't difficult, but it was definitely a little bit unique because of the pipes sticking out of his shoulder. And then like of course we got like more or like bracelets on, so like for where the knee is, another for where the foot is. And then like I tried to do the detailing of like the overalls, and I can't remove the head, and even if I could, I don't want to, but I pretty much like first I did the headpiece, like painted it, detailed it, and all that. Then I applied on the cone of shame, which could have come out smaller and maybe even like make it slightly taller, because like for instance when he just like stands here, you can't really see his eyes that much, but if you bend him back, you can see them. I then took like some spare ladder rods that I had, like the kind that I used to make sword handles, and put a ring around for the cone. And in the end, I pretty much made Boris. So this was, all in all, this was a pretty fun big fig to make, and I had a lot of fun with it. So now that that's out of the way, we can now move on to the background and also look at dead Boris. So to conclude this video off, we have like the background again. We have the return of the cutouts, because the cutouts are everywhere. I decided to just leave this in here because cracks are also everywhere. But I changed the posters, so now this one is Train Trouble, and have Sent from Above, and then we have the music department logo that I tried to paint it, tried to do like a little painting to like where it would fully blend in with the background. We also have like a little can of bacon soup. Oh, and we have an axe. So we have like an old weapon. I mean, can we okay, Harold, can we Harold, that's not what I want. Harold, can we focus that? Okay, thank you, Harold. Sorry about that. Harold's being weird. But we have like, of course, the iconic weapon axe. And this is like axe Mark II. So this is like the prototype axe that I did, that I tried to sculpt completely out of clay. This was like the first ever attempt to sculpt a weapon completely out of the clay. It didn't go fully well, because I had to cut off enough clay to where like it could pretty much crush with my fingers. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. Using like handles from anything. This was like a handle off of like a torpedo I had. So let's here, Bendy, you get to do the honors of holding this axe. Okay, hold it. No, not hug it. Hold it. Okay, grab it. And grab it. Bendy no likey axe. Axe apparently. There we go. But with this axe, you can minifigures can hold it better. The blade edge, I prefer the blade on the prototype axe more. But if they can hold it, then it's all good. I really like how this turned out. So this came out pretty well. Okay, Harold, refocus Focus on there. Okay, thank you, Harold. Okay, we'll set this axe here. And, like, we have instruments made out of the same clay that I used to make the axe. So we have, like, the piano, the banjo, the drum, and the violin. Those are just, like background props. And, okay, there we go. Again, what is that? Okay, Harold, focus. Okay, thank you, Harold. Of course, we have, like, Boris, a corpse Boris, or strapped in. So, originally, I was gonna do just this Boris, but then after Chapter 4 got released, I thought, like, ooh, let's do 2 Borises. Yeah, so this one's mainly for more background stuff, because that's how he mostly is. This centerpiece is supposed to represent his rib cage of, like the ribs out here. I think this nose is bigger than the other Boris. But at the time, I think, like, I didn't really fully think it through at the time. And in general, I don't know, I think this is as close as to, like, similarities. If I had a 3D printer, I would just replicate the head and use it over and over again. The rest of the body was pretty much simple. Well, though, the minifigure I used, it's not exactly a minifigure. I have no idea what it is, but I found this in, like, a box that one of my friends gave me that had, like, a bunch of Legos, and it had this weird minifigure body, so I decided to use this for Corpse Boris, especially since I would be strapping him down. These are just... They're just, like, some of those cables that we use to wrap things, and to wrap up, like, bags, or keep toys in place. And then I made series of cardboard layers to sort of, like, build up his little like, holding area to make it really look like he's being held on a table. And in the back he has a brick piece, so that way if I were to stick this down on the floor, he would stand up there. But otherwise, I have to keep him back at this position so that way he doesn't fall off. But in general, it came out pretty well. Okay, Harold, focus. Thank you. Alright then, let's wrap things up. Alrighty, that does it for this episode of LEGO Arts. It's Bendy and the Ink Machine Wave 2. I honestly didn't think that I'd be able to do, like, this much. My original process was just gonna do, like, Bendy, Susie, and Boris. But then I decided to throw in Sammy, and Norman. And in general, this whole showcase was pretty fun to make. Hey, don't get me wrong, it was hard, but in the end, it was worth it. So, again, guys, if I get a comment that says #LegoBendy, I will go back and do some more Bendy and the Ink Machine characters. And I'm working on some other characters. I'm wrapping up a CW scenario base. I'll probably showcase a couple of Justice League minifigures. Looking at them, I realize now I want to redo them. I also finished up a Batman minifigure, so I think I'll do a video on that one, as well as Ghost Rider. I have an idea of how to do that one. And I'm working on a special other showcase. Okay, but that one, I just finished like the Lego stuff today, but I want to do an animation on that one. So that one will take some time to do that. And speaking of videos, there's gonna be one at the end of this video, like after the outro song. So be sure to stick around for that one. And it should be good. So again, I get a comment, #LegoBendy. More Bendy minifigures will be on the way. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, and share this to your friends, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch. And here's a howl for the road. Ow! Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. What do you guys spoon races?
This is a demon who's had no bacon soup. And this is a demon who's had too much bacon soup.